Now it's time for the Shuster Showdown. Does Evan Bayh's departure from the U.S. Senate mean trouble for the Democrats? Here is Rush Limbaugh's take.
I continue to marvel at this guy talking about gridlock and the lack of bipartisanship. Senator, your party had 60 seats, and you still have 59.
Joining us now, radio talk show hosts from both ends of the political spectrum, Stephanie Miller and Ben Ferguson. Stephanie, let's start with you. What about Rush Limbaugh and his argument? Look, the Democrats control things, so if Evan Bayh is complaining, he should be complaining about his own party.
Wow, I may be agreeing with Rush Limbaugh for the first time, which is going to need I'm going to need OxyContin. But you know, I think that clearly there is gridlock, David. But I have to say, I think it's not just from obstructionist Republicans who have been certainly obstructionist in an unprecedented way, but also because of some conservative Democrats like Bayh. I think he actually raises a good point. I think the president said it not too long ago, David, that we still have unprecedented majorities, and the American people elected him in a landslide and Democratic majorities to get something done.
Ben?
How can the Republicans be obstructionists when you don't need any of their votes to get what the White House wants passed? The White House could have passed health care reform without any Republicans showing up. They blocked the Republicans.
Ben,
they didn't meet with the Republicans.
Stephanie's getting at, I think the point is that Republicans march much more in lockstep than the Democrats. The Democrats have people from all over the spectrum, including several centrist Democrats who a lot of Democrats say sometimes act more like moderate Republicans, and that's the argument.
Well, I mean, I disagree. Look at John McCain. He's not a lockstep Republican by any means. I wasn't excited about him being the candidate. Now he's got his own problems in Arizona in that race there. But the reality is right now the President of the United States of America has got approval rating under 50%. Barbara Boxer is having problems in her own state, only up by 4 points where she should be a shoo-in. And you've got places like Ted Kennedy's old seat that went Republican. They've got problems because they've shut the Republicans out, not the other way around.
No, I'll tell you why we're having trouble is because we need more Democrats like Barbara Boxer. That's the problem is, you know, when I want to scream, David, when I hear people say, oh, you know, it's because we've gone too far left. We have not gone far left enough. The American people were hugely behind health care reform with a public option a year ago. I actually agree that we have bungled
Look at the polls now. When the American people got to look at the polls now, the latest NBC Wall Street Journal poll says that 17%, more than 17% of Americans over the top are saying absolutely not to health care reform.
But Ben, that's a health care reform that does not include the public option and includes this insider deal that the Democrats had to do to get the centrist Ben Nelson. But Stephanie, on the larger point, doesn't it really matter? The only thing that really matters in the end are results. That no matter how the Democrats do it, people don't care whether they do it through reconciliation or jam it down the throats the way Republicans did with so much of their legislation. People just want results.
Absolutely, David. I mean, that's the thing. Where was the outcry when George Bush passed his tax cuts for the top 1% that got us into this deficit largely? Where was the outcry? He passed all of those by reconciliation.
I'm curious,
whether we change the filibuster rules because the Republicans are, it is quantitatively provable, David, that they are abusing it in an unprecedented fashion.
David, at some point in the near future, I hope that the Democrats actually start admitting that they're in charge, that their president's actually president, instead of blaming George Bush. Because as long as they keep saying it's all that guy's fault and the Republicans aren't doing anything when they have no power right now, they're going to keep losing elections in Democratic states, which is fine with me.
Well, Ben, I think the point that you're getting at is I think a lot of Democrats do believe that that this White House has gone too far to try to reach bipartisanship, that results are what matters, and right now they don't have the results that Democrats need. Stephanie Miller, great to see you as always. Thank you. Ben Ferguson, pleasure to have you on as well. Thank you both very much.
Thanks, Dave.